All right, today on The Explainer, we're going to crack open a pretty fascinating case file. We're talking about a microscopic assassin, a perpetrator that turns our modern comforts, hotels, hospitals, even cruise ships, into deadly traps. So let's get right into the investigation.
So what's the official word on our subject? Well, the file reads, intracellular waterborne assassin. Right away, that tells you this isn't just some random bacterium. Nope, this is a highly specialized operative with a very, very particular set of skills. Skills it has perfected over millennia.
I mean, it's a pretty chilling thought, right? This killer lurks in the very places we go to relax, to recover. So the big question is, how does it actually operate? How does it manage to turn something as innocent as water vapor into a weapon? Okay, let's put a name to the face. Our suspect is Legionella pneumophila. Now, what's really wild is where it gets its training. This bacterium sharpens its skills inside freshwater amoebae. Basically, it learns how to survive and thrive inside another cell, a skill it later uses with deadly precision on our own immune cells.
Every good investigation needs a profile. And if we look at this one's family tree, it belongs to a Notorious group, the gamma proteobacteria. Now, this isn't just a science lesson, it's a major clue. Its background tells us exactly how and why it developed the arsenal to become such an effective pathogen.
One of the reasons Legionella is so good at what it does is its ability to stay hidden. It's a true master of disguise. You see, it doesn't show up well with standard lab tests. It just stains poorly. Investigators actually need a special tool, a silver stain, just to get a clear look at it. So right from the get-go, it's tough to pin down.
And it's not just hard to see, it's a real pain to grow in a lab. The scientific term for this is fastidious. The best way to think about it, it's an incredibly picky eater. It has this very specific high-maintenance diet, which tells us a whole lot about where it chooses to live.
So, just how picky are we talking? Well, for it to grow, it demands a specific cocktail of ingredients: cysteine, iron salts, and get this, charcoal. But the charcoal isn't even for food. It's there to act like a tiny Brita filter, detoxifying its surroundings. This level of specialization is exactly why it only hangs out in very particular places.
And where are those places? The crime scenes? Well, given its picky nature, it sets up shop in a lineup of our most common water systems. We're talking cooling towers, hot tubs, the plumbing in hospitals, even humidifiers and ice machines. Basically, any man-made spot where warm, stagnant water can collect becomes a potential hunting ground.
Now this is absolutely crucial to understand how the attack is launched. This is not something you catch from another person sneezing. Legionella does not spread person to person. The danger comes from the environment itself, from breathing in microscopic contaminated water droplets.
Once it gets into the lungs, the operation is just brilliantly devious. It unfolds like a three-act heist. First, the hijack. It literally tricks our body's first responder immune cells, our macrophages, into eating it. Then comes the rewire. It takes over the cell's internal machinery and turns it into its own personal replication factory. And finally, lysis and escape. It multiplies and multiplies until the host cell literally bursts open, releasing a whole new army to start the cycle all over again.
So how in the world does it pull off such a sophisticated takeover? It has a master toolkit. It's a piece of molecular machinery called the Type 4 Secretion System, or T4SS for short. The easiest way to picture it is as a microscopic needle that it uses to inject hundreds of its own tools directly into our cells. And just how many tools are in this toolkit? The number is just staggering. It's around 300. That's right, the T4SS injects roughly 300 different molecules, what we call effector proteins, into that one immune cell. This isn't a single weapon, it's an entire arsenal. And each protein has a very specific job to do. And make no mistake, this isn't just random chaos. It's a perfectly coordinated assault. These 300 proteins work in concert to block the cell's own self-destruct sequence, to steal membranes for camouflage, and to completely manipulate the immune system's alarm bells. It is, for all intents and purposes, a total hostile takeover at the molecular level.
I mean, that is an incredibly sophisticated attack. So the next logical question is, what's the actual damage? What does this cellular hijacking really do to the human body?
Well, it turns out Legionella has two very different rap sheets. On the one hand, you have the big one, Legionnaire's disease. This is a severe, life-threatening pneumonia. But it can also cause something called Pontiac fever, which is much more like a bad flu that goes away on its own. Same culprit, but two completely different outcomes.
So, who's most at risk for the more severe outcome for Legionnaire's disease? Well, the victim profile is pretty specific. Like any smart predator, it targets the vulnerable. We're talking about smokers, the elderly, people who already have chronic lung disease, and especially people with weakened immune systems.
And if we look at the hotspots where these outbreaks happen, a really clear pattern emerges: hotels and hospitals. Just those two account for more than half of all reported cases. It just hammers home that central theme. The real threat isn't out in the wild. It's lurking inside the complex water systems we've built for ourselves.
You know, all of this brings us to a quote from the case file that just sums it up perfectly. Legionella is a highly trained intracellular assassin whose skills are refined within freshwater amoebae before being deployed in human hosts. It's this incredible story of evolution, where nature's training ground accidentally created the perfect human pathogen.
So, how do we fight back against something so well trained? The counterattack is really a three-pronged strategy. First, you have to constantly monitor the environment to find it before it finds us. Second, you use strict engineering controls to stop it from growing in the first place. And third, for people who do get sick, you hit it fast with specific antibiotics that can actually get inside our own cells to kill the bacteria hiding there.
And that brings our investigation to a close, but it really leaves us with this massive question to think about. In a world that is completely built on these complex water systems, how do we continue to outsmart an assassin that was literally trained by nature itself to conquer them? It's this constant, ongoing battle between our own ingenuity and microbial evolution.